Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I have Dave Johnson. Can never get it right. It's mirrored. But anyways, he's here. Right here. There. He is back. He's back from his long trip. I can't wait to hear a little bit about his trip and what he was doing, and also a little update on whatever it is that's going on your channel, what you offer on your channel for those who do not know. I can't imagine it, but you know, those are those few out there that may not know who Dave Johnson is. He has a YouTube channel, and I'm going to turn it over to him. Just tell us about your trip. Tell us about what's going on in your channel. So go for it.
Okay, well, let's see. Trip first, Spain and France. I really could not have been better. I actually speak French, but I haven't been there in 20 years. So it's been a long time, you know. I also went to part of France that I have never been to, which is Brittany. And maybe I'll just hone in on that particular portion because there's so much to tell you. Obviously, you saw the video with Lena and I in Spain, give you an idea of just how fantastic it was. You know, this was all very touch and go because, of course, COVID wasn't over when we started planning. And to be perfectly honest, part of me thought, it's never going to happen, but let's plan because we're all going crazy here. And that was a great idea because it worked out just fine. We had to have tons of paperwork, but if you just had your paperwork, you were fine. And that's not like to go into a store or anything. It was just to get on planes and things. Once you had that, then you were fine. But Brittany has churches from the 1600s, churches from the 600s, which are just like barely Christian. It's just like this Celtic kind of weird, what's that dragon thing? You know, kind of, it's Christian, but I don't know if it, you know, would have passed muster as Christian today. And then there were these 30,000-year-old megaliths. And these were like Stonehenge-like things. And because my mom actually paid for a driver because I met her in France. Because of this, she could take us to places, the driver took us to places she knew about that weren't walled off or limited. So you can walk in these really crazy places. No one knows why they built them, but they took these gigantic rocks, I mean, as big as this room, and put them in rows, thousands of them, all over the place. So you get a really intense feeling. Some of them you can actually go inside. They're like a post and lintel structure. So you got a really, just a very ancient feeling. I mean, I couldn't help but sit there and be like, you know, I wonder if like, I have a feeling that aliens helped, you know, how they moved those stones 3,000 years. I don't know, but I didn't actually get that answer, but it definitely let me open to the idea that, you know, they had some help. So it was very mystical, very magical. And of course, you know, you go into these cathedrals and, you know, to be honest, I like French ones better because they're a little bit more earthy. Gold ones, you know, the Spanish ones, there's always fences. Like you can't get anywhere because it's like the aristocrats get the nice part. So you're always, you know, kind of there and there's a sort of gate between you and the good stuff. France is like really like some worker, you know, carved the statue. So it's much more earth, has a much more human feeling, I figure. And it's not so hierarchical. It's, you know, in my personal belief, all religions have value and all religions are misused. So I can really see the value of the community when I go to that place and, you know, keep it in perspective because obviously church leaders haven't always been ideal. So the Celtic sort of mix of half church and half not was pretty awesome. And I'll just say too, Paris is just a swamp. It's just, there's so many people now. I had to stand in line for an hour to get in the Louvre, even though I had tickets. So it's just, everybody goes to those few places. When you get outside Paris, it's like not a tourist in sight, you know? So that was really nice and really good practice for my French. So,
that is fantastic.
And just as to my channel, take a look if you can at the videos that I've done with Jen Bushman and also Kim at Intuitive View. It's a sort of what we used to call past life regression. It's a sort of hypnosis that is a bit similar to things like quantum healing. That is something I've started to do more and more often because it really makes a difference. It's a bit more intensive, but it really makes a difference in people's lives. And I just love doing it. When you're doing that, it's sort of like I'm channeling and the subject is also channeling. You're
Yes.
seeing your past lives, you're working out a lot of problems, and people just like get up and they're just like, oh my God, it's really life changing. So it's super fun. I'm still doing all the other stuff, but this is a new feature that I'm really enjoying doing.
Awesome. Yeah, I understand that. We have to have that balance. Anyways, I know that I didn't put on a list for everybody to ask questions, but I have a few for you.
Okay, good.
So back in the day, I think this is about maybe a year and a half ago. I'm not really sure, maybe less than a year. I do know that you kept on seeing ships.
Mm-hmm.
And you kept on seeing ships. And I was woken up one night and I go, maybe Dave's ships were Russia and Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that you were doing it for the United States, but the United States is of course connected to Ukraine, and you kept on seeing all of these ships and stuff like that. So I was wondering if you can explain a little bit more about what you saw with the ships, and if you wanted to go into a remote view about a current ship situation, see if that's what you saw, what you see, and if it was symbolic. So go for it.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say too, it's really interesting because, it didn't make any sense when I was seeing those. I'm like, what do ships have to do with, Donald Trump? What do they have to do with anything? But one thing that you'll notice is the political winds have really changed because Putin invaded Ukraine. It has made even the United States a huge difference. So yeah, I think that is and it's not just me. A lot of people kept seeing these ships. So I think that that's what we were seeing. We just didn't really have a context to put it in. The ships didn't make sense to us politically. That's not what we were expecting to see. And I just note this for everybody who's learning to channel, like you'll get these random things and they will not make any sense for a year and they'll seem out of context. And what I'm seeing right now is ruins. I'm seeing the ruins of ships, and there's more than one ruin. I'm seeing the ruins of ships, but I'm also seeing something really bright in the middle of it. And it's like, towering spire of justice. I can only think that that's Ukraine. It's this light that I'm seeing actually has the colors of Ukraine. So I think that they're having, my feeling too is that they're having a lot more luck taking down these ships than anyone, including Russia, imagined. And so I do think that's what we saw. And again, I'm going to say there's a lot of us who saw those ships. And I'm getting a Russian soldier. And he's just really pissed off. Things don't work properly on the ship. The food has, like bull weevils in it. It's disgusting food because, the criminals, the oligarchs have, cheated them and kept the money that they would have good food if it weren't for them. So people on these ships Russian ships have very low morale. And they're not happy about where they're going. They're grudgingly doing this, but it's the same old problem. You have one team of people that really believes in what they're doing. They're going to fight well. You have a group of people that are doing it only because there's a gun at their back. They're not happy. They're just not ready to win. I have to say, like, if we look at the whole system that is Russia, this is still the problem. It's the same problem that caused the nuclear problem in Ukraine. That just incompetence, corruption, hierarchies where no one's allowed to correct the superior. The same problems now exist. It's no different than when Stalin was there. It's just now it's capitalist. So now it actually has another layer of problem, which is corruption. Okay, they're showing me a leaf in the fall. Why are you showing me that? Oh man, this is a really cool image. He takes this dry leaf, it's like an oak leaf, and he crushes it, and he crushes it into little bits. Something is going to happen in the fall with Russia. I would imagine that this means that they will not succeed, that by the fall, they will be crumbling.
Fantastic.
I don't know the details. But yeah, did you have another question about this?
No, but we have been reading and stuff like that, and I just literally have just started reading on Ukraine again, and I've been seeing the end as well. And then usually 3 to 6 months, right, is kind of how the time frames go. So that was fantastic that you are also seeing that, and it could be just literally the leaves. Putin may not survive the fall.
Yeah, well, and a lot of us have felt that Putin will not survive this.
Yeah, he has advanced stage cancer. And that's been confirmed. So
it has been confirmed. I did not know that.
That's been confirmed. So
okay, so he was trying to go out with a bang.
Yeah, he was. Well, there's one thing that came to mind the other day is how does he get Republicans and Trump back into power? He had to start a war with Ukraine so that the gas prices would go up, and all of a sudden now, that was their talking point. Gas prices, and that's just another thing. All right, so let's move on. So the next one is the FBI with Trump. So don't go into Trump, go into what the FBI and the investigations on Trump, because they did start another investigation with him taking the paperwork, of course, down to Mar-a-Lago and trying to sell it to Putin or whatever he was supposed to do. That was me saying that, but whatever he was wanting to do with that.
So do you want me to look specifically at that case of the paperwork?
Well, just see what the FBI is like. What images do you get coming to you from the FBI about Trump?
Okay, very intriguing. First of all, I see a dagger. That is a knife. The knife has blood on it. So, and now I'm seeing a briefcase. The briefcase opens unexpectedly, and there's a lot of things in the briefcase. There's money. There's the dagger. There's a manila envelope with information in it. So, I'm seeing that prosecutor in Georgia, the black lady who's going after him.
Yes.
You remember her? I'm seeing her face. So she knows some information. I think she's sharing some information that she got with the FBI. Okay, now I'm seeing guys in suits. Okay, guys in suits, what are you doing? They're talking to people they're talking to people in Georgia, among other things. And what have you discovered with that paperwork? They're showing me what's in the manila envelope. And it has it's like the paperwork inside is legal paperwork. So it's got those, funny legal lines on both sides. You'll be shocked. It says, you will be shocked when we find it. So yeah, wow. I'm glad you asked me to read this. I didn't even think about it, but there's much more here than we know. I'm a little bit kind of making some distinctions here between that case and the FBI case in general. Because I know the FBI is now pretty much pursuing people. The Justice Department is starting to call people, and I know that the Proud Boys, a bunch of them just got indicted for seditious conspiracy, which is as bad as you can get. Seditious conspiracy essentially means you tried to overthrow the government. That is going to be at least as important as the paperwork. But the paperwork is still very important. I'm just going to go to Trump and say, okay, why were you hiding this? Yeah, I don't think that you were too far off, Sheila. I think that he was going to use that information either to sell to a foreign country or something like that. He wanted to keep that information, and he wanted to keep it because some of it makes him look bad, but it also is a way that he could blackmail people, I think, if he was able to keep it. So, I mean, imagine if Jim Jordan is named in there somewhere, he can, call Jim Jordan and let him know he better stop this process, right? So there's a lot of reasons why he wanted to keep it. And he was surprised that they had enough guts to demand that paperwork, that the legal system actually functioned. And keep in mind, everybody, that's what we're watching. Does our legal system still work? Does anything still work? Keep in mind, Trump is not the president. So yeah, it is working, just not particularly well. And it's taking a long time, and it's frustrating all of us. And 40% of the people in America are crazy. It's very frustrating. But we are seeing that the legal system is working, and we'll see it even better when we get into the January 6th committee. I'm getting that what we're going to get, the whole enchilada, is actually going to surprise us in the depth of actual written words that show an attempt at coup. Liz Cheney shows up, and I'm just wondering if Liz Cheney knows anything about that paperwork in Florida. She's like, there's so much paperwork. Just there's actually so much evidence here. And that's the problem that we're having with this. There's so much evidence that we can't even, I saw one senator say, it would take years just to go through the phone logs and find out all of the people that were called and why. He's like, we could literally spend years trying to figure out the details of this. There's so much overwhelming information that they're like, let's get started. We don't know it all yet, but what is in that paperwork in Florida? What is he hiding specifically? Something about military equipment. So there's something about our armed forces that's in that work. He was going to give away some secrets. Yeah, and you began this program with the idea of what is Trump doing with Russia? What were they going to do? What was Trump going to do if he became president? What were the intentions? Was he just going to let Putin take over, half of Europe? That's not that far from the truth.
I think once you come out of that, I think also that he's a grifter, right? He's a grifter at heart. So if he could sell a piece of paper with information on it for $1 million, he will.
Yeah.
You're going to sell it to the highest bidder, not selling the country off to the highest bidder. I think that he also had that in mind as well. All right. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, a while ago, I kept seeing Trump flying to Saudi Arabia. And I was just like, what's going on? Is he going to try to escape? This doesn't really make any sense. Why would he do that? But now you notice Jared Kushner and the treasury guy just got tons and tons of money from Russia, supposedly to invest it. And it's obviously, they've been bought off. So I wonder if there isn't a greater connection. Maybe that one of the people who's going to sell it to was Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. He is probably going to put it in a briefcase and fly it around the world and say, I got this. What do you got for me? Because he has no money really coming in much anymore. He has more going out than he has coming in.
Yeah, I bet.
All right. So the next one is the FBI into the Texas shooting. I want to know the FBI when they get down there, whatever, what are they seeing about the shooting and the police and all of that good stuff? What are they, the FBI, what do they have seen so far? Because it's not done.
Well, they're really upset at what they're seeing. This FBI guy is just looking at me going, oh my God. Like, he's just appalled at how bungling this has been. At the same time, it's like inevitable. Like when you have, 12 guns per person in the United States, it's just, this is inevitable. There's nothing, this is going to happen. This doesn't let them off the hook, but this particular FBI person is just overwhelmed by the shocking amount of information. And he is pretty appalled at how the police acted. They were arrogant. They weren't doing their job. They stood in, for all their heroic talk, they waited and backed off and took the most precautionary measures. Now, one thing I hope everybody keeps in mind is, when you've got an active shooter, you don't know if it's 10 active shooters. There's a million things that are going on. There are a million reasons why you don't want to enter the building. You don't know if one guy's got a gun to a kid's head and they can negotiate it out. And, you don't know. So, I guess the point is that this is just such an impractical information, like a situation that's just, how can we work it out as Americans if we have all of these guns around? They're going to be, next time there'll be a new situation that they don't know how to handle. Again, this doesn't let them off the hook. They really failed to understand what's going on and address it. But
do you hear that? Do you hear that at my house?
Yeah.
I'm getting hailed on right now, like big hail.
Okay, huh?
I understand. Wow. Yeah, we've been all trying to do some messages about that too, and to kind of bring you back in. I think that they didn't know what to do.
They didn't know what to do.
I don't think that, it's like the cops are in chaos. I can't think, I get the impression that they didn't have like a very a police station where they all got along, and you know what I mean? And they didn't think that anything like that would ever happen. You know what I mean? It was truly a surprise and shock. And what did they do? Well, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of unanswered questions, and
there are police there who do feel extremely bad about what happened. One thing that people don't know is in 2004, Bush lifted the assault weapons ban.
Correct.
The police department opposed that.
Yep.
Police chiefs of America said this is a really bad idea. So don't suppose that the police want those guns out there. They don't.
No.
They might often vote Republican, but the reality is, they don't. They did not want that. This is because of powerful.
Yeah, they do some investigation. It was more powerful. The gun that he had was more powerful than AR-15. It was like the top of the line. You know,
Right.
and somebody also said that, you know, it took almost $10,000 to get the 2 guns that he got and the ammunition. Where did he get the money?
Ah,
This kid, this 18-year-old kid who didn't have a job, lived in a, you know, pretty much like in theory, the basement of a, you know, place that he didn't have any money. Where did he get the money?
right.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot to look up with that.
It's certainly good questions.
Now I want to kind of look into how the eclipse. How did you make it through the eclipse?
Mm. Well, I was just arriving home, so I was just getting back to Australia as this happened. And the whole time really was very tumultuous. Like everything was changing really quickly. You know, of course, I'm totally jet lagged, so that wasn't a big surprise. But I don't know, I feel like the eclipse really something did shift. I think you mentioned like getting rid of non-useful things. And I can really see that now that you mention it. I wasn't particularly paying attention. Again, I just like got back. So I didn't notice exactly the day, but all around that time, there's just lots of shifts, lots of changes, lots of discarding of things that are no longer useful, right? So I think I like maybe I became a little bit more generous and understanding people and their faults, right? I think one thing that I've shifted of late is to be a little bit less black and white and really try to go, let's look at lifetime as an experience, right? What are we experiencing? You know, some Donald Trump is having one kind of an experience. I'm having a different kind of experience. We're going to both learn something from this. So maybe I'm a little bit less tough on people who I think did not so righteous. I think that's one of the things that I started to give up at the beginning of the vacation, and I still haven't completely given it up. I could take
In
a look.
progress for a reason.
Yeah, yeah. I take a look at it a bit now and like, well, okay, I'm still not forgiving, Donald Trump or anything, but I can see why, when I did that video with Kim and we did the process where she was uh, um, I was doing this sort of intuitive healing process where people are under hypnosis. And the person that she wound up contacting was Abraham Lincoln. And so I said, Lincoln, we're, in the same civil war right now. What should we do? And the message was bring people together whenever you can, bring people together. And I want people to know there's some people you're never going to come together with. Do not waste your time. But there are some people who are maybe a little bit more flexible. And when it's possible, it's useful to have that center on your side. It's useful to have conversations with the center, or even people whose values might line up in some ways with yours and they are on the right. You just have to find out which people are which. Like, right. Do not waste time with some. You'll never argue your way into the truth. But that's, I think, the thing that shifted most for me.
Fantastic. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. And yay, I'm so glad that you're back. I know that we had a little respite. I don't know. Did we do anything April, May? Oh, anyways, it doesn't matter. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Bye.